Hello, it's Homo Manning. Today I'm doing a yearly thing. I don't think I did it last year, but I'll just tell y'all it wasn't good last year. I didn't upload it. But anyways, today I'm predicting every team's record. I did this using Playoff Predictor. This is just my opinion, but yeah, let's get into it. So first we have the NFC West. I have the Rams going 5-11. No shocker here. They ended 9-7 last year, but look at the offensive weapons they lost. Gurley, who wasn't that much of a factor, his knee's just history. Brandon Cooks, so now they're going to be relying on Higbee, Cup, and Woods. Their line was never really that bad. Defensively, by the way, their cap is going to be up there. I mean, look, you're paying Goff, Ramsey, and Donald top dollar. I mean, I just they have the names. It's just I don't think those names can be productive on offense. So yeah, that's my reasoning to the Rams at 5-11. The Cardinals 9-7. They took Isaiah Simmons with the eighth pick, which wasn't one of their biggest needs. Their biggest need was the line. That offensive line was one of the worst. Kyler Murray was scrambling for his life. I don't think David Johnson's going to hurt them that much. In fact, I'd prefer DeAndre Hopkins over David Johnson. They did take Josh Jones in the third round, but let's be real, he's just raw talent. You don't really know if he's going to pan out. And we've seen a lot of linemen, for instance, the Rams with their second pick, their O lineman, I forgot his name, who came to Seattle, didn't do good. Anyways, second I have the Niners. Yeah, I can't believe the NFC. Usually the Super Bowl loser always has a down year if we go off history. Eagles, the Rams, even us, we still made the playoffs with the Seahawks. Uh, for the Patriots, I mean, they just never win it the second year. They haven't done that for like 12 years. But, I mean, they have arguably the best front seven in the NFL. Their safety, who I can't think of his name, is one of the most underrated safeties in the NFL. I feel like Debo Samuel can have a breakout year. Uh, and I think people are forgetting the guy from Washington, Dante Pettis, can come up, and they have the best tight end in the NFL, George Kittle, in my opinion. Although they don't have a stud name back there. Oh, by the way, their receiver from Arizona State, who they drafted. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm on the spot. I can't think of names. Not good at thinking names. Uh, I think he was a good pick, but Garoppolo, man, I hate when you just judge a quarterback off of one play. But in the Super Bowl, I still can't believe he overthrew Emmanuel Sanders. And it must suck to be a Niners fan of this decade, just of this decade. I know I'm a Seahawks fan, and we only have one ring, and the Niners have five. But think of it. You've lost two Super Bowls and like three NFC championships. Lost to the Ravens, lost to the Chiefs, lost to the Seahawks, lost to the Giants. Okay, so only two that comes to mind. There's probably more. Or wait, lost to the Falcons in the NFC Championship. I believe that was them. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, first I have the Seahawks. Now I know a lot of people didn't like our draft. I get that, but our whole our whole backstory is just off of reaching Wilson, third round, one of the best quarterbacks. Bobby Wagner, second round. Cam Chancellor, fifth round. Richard Sherman, fifth round. Really, the only last good first pick that comes to mind in recent years is Earl Thomas. We make a living. Chris Carson, seventh round. We make a living off of drafting late rounders. Just look at our first rounders that haven't really panned out. Rashad Penny had a good year last year, but it's now torn ACL. Uh, LJ Collier not looking so good, but I still have faith. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I still think we're one of the best coach teams, probably the second best coach team, as long as we're not talking about our offensive coordinator. And really, Russell Wilson's only missed the playoffs once in his career, and you can only blame Blair Walsh for that. I feel like we're gonna have a good year here. I'm not being biased because this is since I've been doing this. I've for 2 years I've never said the Seahawks are first. I feel like this is our year. Fourth, I have the Lions. I've lost faith in them. I understand they're rebuilding, but the whole team, for the most part, the whole team does not like Matt Patricia. And when the whole team doesn't like you, the chemistry's off. Third, I have the Bears, 5-11. I'm sorry, don't believe in Trubisky. They got 10 tight ends. I think Allen Robinson is extremely overrated at this point in his career. Defensively, you got to feel for the defense. Second, I have the Vikings, who had arguably one of the better drafts on paper, with Ezra Cleveland in the second round, Jeff Gladney, and one of the arguably the best pure slot receiver, Justin Jefferson, in the draft. I think this team's going to be deadly. If Thielen and Jefferson stay healthy, they'll probably have arguably the best receiving duo with up there with Evans and Godwin. Uh, and don't forget about Irv Smith. He'll probably beat out what's his name, Rudolph, for the starting tight end job. And bold prediction, Alexander Madison beats out Dalvin Cook for the starting running back position. Anyways, first I have the Packers, 11-5. They had one of the best defenses last year, but also played one of the weaker competitions, and they got saved by the refs in one game by the Lions. That was pretty bad. Um, but offensively, they still have their big three or big four if you want to include their linemen. Uh, but obviously, a lot of people don't like their draft class, but you can't really tell. But it's not looking so good. But I think the Packers with the division they're in, playing the Bears and Lions twice. I think they go 11-5, although I don't think they can make a deep playoff run. Now we have the NFC South. In fourth, I have the Panthers going 2-14. Uh, I'm sorry, McCaffrey's the whole offense. Yeah, DJ Moore had over 1,000 yards. I don't trust Teddy Bridgewater with no weapons like the Saints did with Kamara and Thomas. Uh, and their defense, they're rebuilding that defense. And Luke Kuechly's sudden retirement. Anyways, third I have the Falcons, 5-11. Going into last year, I saw them going 8-8, even though I was wrong, simply because of how overstacked that offensive line was, and with the draft picks they've drafted over the years, and Julio, Ridley, and Sanu and Hooper. Well, they lost Hooper. Yeah, they got Gurley, but we can't trust Todd Gurley's knees. They reached on AJ Terrell. I mean, eef. I don't know what to say. That's all I can say. Deion Jones is mostly always injured. They had their safety last or 2 years ago led the NFL in interceptions, but honestly, this defense all around can't play well together. So that defense is going to screw them like it always has. Second, I have the Bucks, are arguably the most popular free agency destination right now, and like the most free agently tracked team with Brady, going there, but they're relying too much on Sean Murphy. And why do I say that? Because they were one of the worst teams against the pass. People could just pass all over them. So they were first against the run because people would pass all over them. And there's Sean Murphy, their second round pick last year, they're relying on him too much. Uh, so that's the person who's, if this team's going to go far, has to step up his game. But, I like the Andrew Thomas pick and the safety. Oh, crap. The safety they drafted, but still, I don't think it's good enough to compete with the Saints. And at first, I have the Saints. The only thing that could screw them is Drew Brees. And, the locker room and all that with what Drew Brees said. But regardless of that, I still think I might not pick them in the playoffs this year because of all their terrible history. But I still think they're the best team in the regular season right now. Uh, I think Marcus Davenport can have a big year coming up. They took him in the first round for a reason a few years back. But I think Michael Thomas is the best statistical receiver. I said statistical. Uh, and yeah, Taysom Hill is the greatest quarterback of all time. All right, next we have the NFC East. Fourth, I have the Redskins. I cannot believe this, but I think they're going to have a bounce back year. We're forgetting that Dwayne Haskins, although Ohio State isn't known for producing good quarterbacks, still threw 50 touchdowns, and McLaurin had a great year for a rookie. Uh, Darius Geis hopefully will come back strong. No Trent Williams, but like I said, I feel like Dwayne Haskins will have a good sophomore season. They have one of the best pass rushing threats with Montez Sweat and Chase Young, and Ryan Kerrigan still back there surprisingly. And they finally got rid of Josh Norman. He was actually hurting that team more than, helping it. Third, I have the Giants, also 7-9. I mean, over the years they've drafted players who have been bad, like Eli Apple, but I feel like Dexter Lawrence, uh, the safety from Alabama, can't think of his name right now. Oh crap, DeAndre Baker. That's a huge blow. He was just coming up. that they're not that good on receivers, but I still believe Barkley's the best running back in the NFL. Andrew Thomas fits their scheme perfectly. Daniel Jones will have a good sophomore year. Still had a better rookie year than Kyler Murray. Don't know how Kyler Murray won Rookie of the Year. Anyways, second I have the Eagles 8-8, solely on the fact that Wentz can't stay healthy. And, receiver wise, yeah, they drafted Rieger, and then they drafted what's his name? Jalen Hurts, but I'm sorry. Best tight end duo in the NFL, but receiver wise, Alshon Jeffrey can never stay healthy. Nelson Aguilar, I know he's not with them anymore, he's with the Raiders, just dropped so much passes last year. Wentz is one of the best quarterbacks, best throw under pressure quarterback in the NFL, hands down. They're not that Super Bowl team there once was. They lost Malcolm Jenkins. They lost all the pizzazz, as you say, on that defense. So yeah, I'm gonna have them 8-8. First, I have the Cowboys 10-6. I feel like they needed a coach change, but Dak Prescott still isn't elite. I'm sorry. Zeke's one of the best running backs in the NFL, but since he's got his money, he's like, all right, sub me out. He doesn't have that. I feel because I had him on fantasy last year, and there were so much times he would just sub out. I mean, what running back does that? I know he's big, but damn. They got CeeDee Lamb, who played 50% of the his college season in the slot, so I think that will be good for them with Amari Cooper, and you compare him with Michael Gallup. However, their tight ends, no elite tight ends. Jason Witten's a Raider now. Still have one of the best lines. Defensively, oh my God, what a disappointing year they were. I was comparing their defense to the Bears last year, and man, they played bad. I think Trevon Diggs, though, is going to get burned. Trevon Diggs needs to learn how to play man coverage. One of the best zone coverages in the draft class, but not good man. Plus, he got destroyed by, what's his name, Jamar Chase. Anyways, AFC West. I have the Chargers going 5-11. A lot of offensive talent and defensive talent, but Justin Herbert is a one-read quarterback. I feel like Eckler's going to have a good year. Eckler's going to be a fantasy football sleeper. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, one of the best receiving duos. Third, I have the Raiders, 7-9. Josh Jacobs is primed for a good year. But I think Darren Waller will have a slump from what he had. Derek Carr just ain't elite after the injury. Defensively, Damon Arnett was a reach. Second, I have the Broncos. Now, I had made a bold prediction that Drew Lock was going to win MVP, but then everyone else started saying that. He already has good chemistry with Jerry Jeudy. They're already reportedly throwing during this pandemic. But honestly, their defense consists of like it well popular names like Jarrell Casey, Von Miller, uh, and say other people I'm forgetting. There's like two more popular names who aren't really in their prime anymore. But hey, you still got the experience. You'll have Bradley Chubb coming back from injury. Despite that, their pass rush last year, I looked and yeah, since they lost Shaq Barrett, who led the NFL in sacks, yeah, I mean, he wasn't as good as he was with the Bucks, with the Broncos, but still. Anyways, first I have the Chiefs. I think they're the new Patriots of the wild card. I'm not going to tell you their names. You know their names. I mean, defensively, they stacked up from last year. I think Clyde Edwards can do really good, better than D. Williams. So, yeah. All right, AFC North. I have Bengals 4-12. Terrible defense. Burrow, Higgins, and Boyd and Green. That's a good trio. Pair him with what's his name? Joe Mixon. But I thought I think they're still terribly on defense, and Burrow is 23 yet a rookie. Still has time to grow. Third, I have the Browns 8-8. They love having LSU players on their team. Odell, Jarvis, Delpit, Greedy. Uh, but I think they'll have a good year. I think Miles Garrett has a good chance to win Defensive Player of the Year, and I think Baker Mayfield will have a better quarterback rating. I mean, there's nowhere up. There's no way up. Oh fuck! Once you hit rock bottom, there's no way but up. And yeah, they're one of the more hyped teams last year, but this year, don't see it. Still, second, I have the Steelers 9-7. Now this is at the minimum I see them going. I could possibly see them taking the division or going 12-4. They had one of the once they acquired Minka, which I thought was a bad trade for the Steelers because he wasn't really doing that much on the Dolphins. That whole defense shifted. However, their receivers probably one of the worst receiving duos. Juju had such a terrible year. I understand Deontay Johnson and James Washington didn't do that bad, but I don't sense an elite receiver in any of them. They took another receiver in the second round. James Conner had a terrible year. Ben's getting older. Still have one of the best O lines ever. Still, even after losing Marcus Gilbert. Um, but honestly, that offense is the reason. That's a 3-13 offense, but a 13-3 defense. Best way to describe the Steelers. Ravens 10-6. There's more film on Lamar Jackson. I'm comparing him to Cam Newton, right? Because Cam Newton was the last quarterback we saw like get those rushing touchdowns and rushing yards. And look what happened the next year. He had a terrible year. I understand they're two different quarterbacks. Cam Newton's a big guy. Lamar Jackson ain't. But there's more film on him. Um, they don't really have a breakout big receiver. Yeah, Marquise Brown, he's a 5'10" guy, and he's cousins with AB, but like I don't know. I don't sense an elite receiver. I feel like he's too small. I feel like he'd get the big stats, but I'm not counting on him to carry an offense. Their draft wise, Patrick Queen and AJ Epinenza, they did pretty good, but where they're gonna take a huge lump or what do you call it? Fall is Marshall Yonder retiring, one of the best right guards in the NFL. Uh, anyways, Mark Andrews had a great year, but I don't think they're going to be as dominant as they were last year. Second to last division, we have the AFC South. I have the Colts going 6-10. Don't believe in Rivers. Simple as that. Darius Leonard, though, was probably the best linebacker in the NFL. Great. God, he went off last year. Quentin Nelson, best left guard in the NFL. Jaguars 7-9. Everybody keeps talking about how they're losing talent like Ramsey, Boye, Campbell, um, but you also have to know they're bringing in new talent. Caleb Von Chasen, uh, Josh Allen, Laviska Shenault. Like they've been bringing in talent while also losing in. And Minshew might just be my MVP pick now that everyone's picking Drew Lock, and I thought I was special. Uh, but yeah, I have Jaguars 7-9, which by the way I predicted Minshew's the goat, and Minshew is the goat. Second, I have the Titans 9-7. I think they'll still be making the playoffs 9-7. Um, but honestly, I don't know if Ryan Tannehill is Ryan Tannehill legit or is he another Ryan Fitzpatrick? Um, AJ Brown had a great rookie year. Derrick Henry, arguably the most dominant running back in the NFL when he gets the ball in his hands. Uh, Good O line too. They're on their two edges. They're gonna have Taylor Lewan and Isaiah Wilson. So uh, I think they could be one of the best running offenses in the NFL. First, I have the Texans. Now, the Texans, I feel like are going to be really good. I think everybody's shitting on them right now, but I feel like David Johnson fits that system pretty well. Bill O'Brien wanted him for a reason. Although they lost an elite receiver, they gained receiver depth. Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks, and Will Fuller are still a good receiving duo. Uh, Defensively, their 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 secondary wasn't the same when they lost to Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. They got Ross Blacklock, but that defense is going to need help. But I still think Deshaun Watson's a top three quarterback in the NFL. I think their division, um, they'll probably do good in their division games, and that'll lead them to 11-5. Last division, the NFC East. Dolphins 2-14. Don't even know if Tua's going to start. They traded all their good players for draft picks for the most part. Devontae Parker, huge year though for him. Third, I have the Jets 5-11. Sam Darnold's throwing mechanics were just all off last year. I don't know what's to come from him. His freshman year at USC was really good, but then his sophomore year, that's when he started to turn the ball over. He's a huge turnover guy. I do think Brashard Perryman was an underrated free agent pickup though. Mekhi Becton, we'll have to see how that big guy turns out. Second, I have the Patriots. A lot of people are saying they're going to tank for the first pick, but I still think Bill Belichick is a genius. And Stidham, although he doesn't look that promising, I feel like he can be a great game manager. Defensively, people are forgetting they still had the, I believe, number one defense last year. Um, I don't know about the Kyle Duggar pick taking a D2 school player, but it is what it is. Bill Belichick knows who he's drafting. First, I have the Bills. Now, the Bills, I feel like are going to be really good. They're going to be the second best team in the AFC behind the Chiefs. My prediction: Bills will have the number one defense, and Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs and John Brown. Because keep in mind, well, just for John Brown, Josh Allen still did good, and they were giving the ball. I hate to say it, the dude's a legend, but they were giving the ball too much to Frank Gore. Devin Singletary, they need to know, is their best back. Josh Allen, although he's inaccurate at sometimes, is still a big body playmaker. Strongest arm in the NFL. But yeah, the Bills going 11-5. Don't have that hard of a schedule too. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw the Bills, if the Chiefs somehow fall, make the Super Bowl. But they did lose 4 Super Bowls in a row. I'm sorry. So this is how my playoffs would work, and yeah, tell me what you guys think. If I'm wrong in the comics in the comments. And yeah.